The shrill ring of my doorbell at midnight nearly stopped my heart cold. I stumbled downstairs in pajamas while blue police lights painted my living room walls. The officer on my porch looked exhausted as he adjusted his belt. "Sir, the HOA just called 911 on you," he said with a heavy sigh. "She claims your backyard is now a full-blown war zone threatening the whole neighborhood." I rubbed my eyes and almost laughed right there in the doorway. All of this chaos started with 6 innocent pink plastic flamingos. 6 months ago I moved into this picture-perfect suburban cul-de-sac for some peace. The lawns were identical, and everyone waved like robots. Then Deborah rolled up in her golf cart like she owned the planet. She was the HOA president. Clipboard always ready. One bright Tuesday afternoon she marched straight to my front door without knocking. "Those flamingos have got to go immediately," she snapped with her fake sweet smile. "HOA rules demand all yard decor stay tasteful. Uniform. The board." I kept my voice calm even though my blood was already starting to simmer. "They're just cheap lawn ornaments, Deborah. And totally harmless fun." She narrowed her eyes and jabbed a finger toward my yard like it was toxic waste. "Cheerful is not in the covenant, Mr. Friday, or the fines begin." I paid the first $100 fine just to shut her up for a week. But Deborah wasn't satisfied with simple obedience from the new guy on the block. She started cruising past my house every single morning in that damn golf cart. Her glare burned through my windows while I drank my coffee on the porch. Anonymous complaint letters started showing up in my mailbox like clockwork. Neighbors I barely knew suddenly avoided eye contact at the community mailbox cluster. I could feel the quiet judgment spreading through the subdivision like cheap gossip. My heart pounded harder every time I heard her cart's electric whine approaching. One weekend I decided I was done playing nice with her miniature dictatorship. I went online and ordered 500 tactical garden gnomes in full battle gear. Camo paint, plastic rifles, for maximum absurdity. The boxes arrived in a delivery truck that blocked half the street for an hour. Unpacking them felt ridiculous and strangely satisfying under the hot Saturday sun. I spent the entire weekend arranging them in epic war formations across my backyard. Some gnomes stormed miniature trenches while others launched acorn catapults at the flamingos. A few squads stood in perfect parade rest guarding the pink birds like prisoners. The smell of fresh mown grass mixed with the plastic scent of new toys. By Sunday night my yard looked like a satirical battlefield ready for inspection. Neighbors peeked over fences and actually started laughing for the first time in months. Kids pointed and giggled while parents snapped secret photos on their phones. But Deborah spotted the new setup Monday morning and completely lost her mind. She pounded on my door so hard the frame rattled in its hinges. "This is an absolute violation of every aesthetic standard we have," she shrieked. Her face turned an angry shade of purple that clashed with her HOA polo shirt. I leaned against the doorframe with my arms crossed and kept my tone ice cold. "Funny thing, the bylaws say nothing at all about gnome armies." She sputtered and threatened an emergency board meeting to rewrite the rules on the spot. That was when the real harassment campaign kicked into high gear. She spread rumors at the neighborhood potluck that I was some kind of unstable prepper. People started crossing the street to avoid me like I carried the plague. My phone buzzed nonstop with passive-aggressive texts from concerned soccer moms. The isolation felt heavy, like an invisible weight pressing on my chest every day. I stayed calm on the outside, but inside I was boiling with quiet rage. That was the moment I installed hidden cameras all around my property line. Every angle covered, footage saved straight to the cloud. I documented every drive-by glare, every whispered insult. Deborah had no idea I was building a legal bomb with her own behavior. Then came the night she finally snapped and dialed 911 in pure hysterics. She told the dispatcher I had turned my yard into a violent training ground. Police cruisers rolled in with lights flashing and neighbors' curtains twitching open. The officers stepped into my backyard and froze at the sight of the Gnome battlefield. One young cop actually snorted with laughter before he could stop himself. "Sir, native as hell. But it's not illegal," he told me with a grin. Deborah stood on the sidewalk in her bathrobe, pointing wildly and screaming accusations. "You'll regret humiliating me like this," she hissed as the cops drove away. Her threat hung in the night air like cheap perfume mixed with desperation. The next evening I caught her red-handed on my brand new security footage. Deborah crept through my back gate at dusk wearing dark clothes like a cartoon villain. She kicked over an entire squad of gnomes and snapped their little plastic heads off. The camera caught her heel grinding one soldier into the dirt with pure malice. That trespassing and vandalism footage was crystal clear and time-stamped perfectly. I spent the next 3 days compiling every email, rant she sent. My dossier was thicker than the HOA rulebook she loved to wave around. The emergency board meeting was scheduled for the following Thursday night. I walked into the community center carrying my laptop and a quiet sense of justice. Deborah sat at the head table looking smug in her official president name tag. I stood up when it was my turn and kept my voice steady as steel. "Ladies and gentlemen," Deborah enforces so passionately. I clicked play and the projector lit up the wall with her greatest hits. Her shrill voice filled the room demanding illegal fines and personal vendettas. Board members shifted in their seats while her face drained of all color. Then I showed the security clip of her midnight gnome massacre in slow motion. Gasps rippled through the crowd as her foot crushed another tiny soldier. According to the bylaws she quotes daily, board members cannot commit trespass or damage, I said calmly. Deborah tried to interrupt with sputtering excuses that only made her sound crazier. The vote came faster than I expected and it was completely unanimous. Deborah was stripped of her president title effective immediately and banned from future boards. She stormed out of the meeting hall clutching her clipboard like a broken shield. The room actually erupted in relieved applause once the door slammed behind her. Neighbors I hadn't spoken to in months came up and shook my hand warmly. The subdivision felt lighter the very next morning as if a dark cloud had lifted. My flamingos still stand proudly pink beside their gnome bodyguards in the backyard. The tactical army remains in formation. A ridiculous monument to petty tyranny. I sip my coffee on the porch now and watch the sun rise over the gnomes. The air smells sweeter without the constant whine of her golf cart circling. Turns out the real war was never about lawn decor at all. It was about one woman drunk on tiny power and the neighbors who finally woke up. And honestly, the soldier was worth the ridiculous price of admission.